Okay, back with Emma talking about athletes and sports performance, answering your questions and emails. And here is a very big one, I think. Overcoming performance anxiety. How do I do this? Especially before big matches.
Yeah. Well, the tendency is any good, decent athlete will say at the end of the day, it's still the same game. It's still the same race. It's still the same. The stakes are different. And so our interpretation of it obviously becomes different. That being said, everything that you need to do to perform well is still the same. So in your mind, one of the key things that I work very hard on with my athletes is to, okay, we acknowledge you're feeling anxious about whatever because the stakes are higher. Okay, great. Now we're going to park that somewhere else because it is what it is. And we need to come back to it's still a race, it's still a performance. You need to do a number of things really well in order to hopefully get the outcome that you want. And for most athletes, you want to win, you want to score, whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
And so that allows us to come back to the present moment, being in the now. Everything becomes a process. Mm-hmm. The only thing that you can influence is the thing that you do right now, not 10 seconds from now, not 10 seconds ago. It happened. It hasn't happened yet. And you need to do you need to do a number of things right now. So whatever that is. Another thing that I strongly recommend, and certainly helped me, is most of us will have a game plan or have at least something, a preparation. And you can make it as detailed or as big picture that is good for you. Some people thrive in detail. They need all the details that they can possibly think of to make sure that they go through it. And if that works for you, that's great. If you are a little bit more of a bigger picture, then you need to simplify it and I guess chunk up to a little bit more abstract. And
yeah, we know this from NLP. It's called the hierarchy of ideas, where some people are more big picture, some people are thriving, as you said, on small details. And there's nothing wrong with either one, by the way.
No, it's however and whatever works best for you. What you can then do is boil it down to, say, probably 3 key things. Can you come up with 100? Yeah, I'm sure you could, but that's not relevant because you're going to forget and you're going to get distracted. And it's like there's so many things that are happening that will demand, if you're not careful, your attention, and it will certainly wander. So just keep it simple. 1, 2, no more than 3 things. Those 3 things will underpin your performance. You won't forget all of a sudden how to kick a ball. You know how to kick a ball. There are some things that you need to do really well in order to be able to kick the ball, though. So what are those 3 things for you, or whatever they may be throughout the game? So that will allow you to bring your focus back when this starts going, nah, 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 and you start wondering and talking to yourself, maybe talking negatively to yourself. So sometimes you need to keep the monkey inside preoccupied so you can give it something else to do.
Yes.
And something else to do is, all right, we're going to focus on this. All right. Therefore, every action that you do becomes relevant to that key focus. And there are, at the end of the day, there are things that you do really well. We all have things that we do really well, whatever that is.
Right.
And I want you to think about that. Those key things could be 1, 2, 3 things. I want you to go in to your match, into your game, with the intention that you will absolutely outperform anyone else in those things. Because the reality is, you may not be the biggest, and you may not be the strongest, and you certainly may not be the fastest. And maybe you are, maybe you're not, but chances are there are going to be some attributes that you do have and some physical attributes that you may not have. Now, does that mean that that someone else is therefore automatically set to win? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, there is no equal sign. I just wanted to say
no,
there is no equal sign.
100%. So what is your uniqueness that you bring to your team, to your game, that you do well? And that is going to be the thing that you will outperform anyone else in that area. Now, does it automatically equate to winning? I guess we'll find out. However, it is certainly, it will put you, again, get you to focus on something that is relevant right now, and essentially will distract you from the the future pacing that happens when we already imagine ourselves crossing the line. Yeah, but
Right,
in
right.
order to cross,
Aren't you describing in different words actually the what we call the anxiety process in timeline therapy?
absolutely,
See,
super helpful.
what I hear you say, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think what I hear you say is that, your focus again is and it has to do with what we call, normally visualization, has to do in how to be in super, performing place. And people will say the usual excuse that I have here is, but how do I know that things are going to run away and I'm going to be successful? And the truth is that you never know, because the future hasn't happened yet. But
Yeah.
what I hear you say is that your performance will be much better if you imagine that positively rather than not, which is virtually the anxiety process, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, and I mean this really nicely, the more untrained athletes, coaches, even, right? It's no different for coaches. And again, if you're whether you're in business, sports, life, right? Life is sports too, right? It's a performance. So
The performance.
musician, 100%. So everything that you do is a performance. The question is, at what level are you performing at any given time? And the we want to imagine, oh, that's so great. I imagine myself, on the podium, standing there winning. And that's fantastic prior to you starting the race. Maybe not so relevant in the race because your focus is going somewhere else and it's detracting from what you need to do right now in order to hopefully cross the line first, or in whatever context that
Right.
may be.
Right.
And so it's really boring, but you got to be process minded. You have to be.
Process meaning not why and what, but process meaning how do I do this now at every moment.
Yeah,
And
what do I need to do now? And
yes,
what, again, depending on the type of sports, for instance, obviously some sports they're over in a flash. Compare, a tennis match could last, 5.5 hours. That's a long time, by the way. So it will require, there'll be different stages in that match. Some matches have 4 quarters and there's a tea break halfway. So
right.
there's a reset moment. And so depending on where you are, will depend on what you need to do right now to make sure that moving forwards, you're going to continue to execute all of those things. So that will be another one. And the other thing in regards to big matches, look, and I say this with a lot of humility, it's a privilege to be in a big match. Not everyone gets to be in a
I
big match.
fully agree. I couldn't have said it better. Yes, I agree.
100%, right? And so you've worked your butt off, you've done the put in the time and the effort. So the fact that you're there isn't just an accident. Oops, you found yourself there. No, no, no. You worked towards that very deliberately. So the fact that you are there and get to experience that, the environment that is called a big match or a big occasion, should be something to be celebrated. It should be taken on because it's exciting to be there. And by the way, from a physiological perspective, there is no difference between feeling excited or feeling nervous, right? It's just our interpretation of it is
It
different.
feels the same. It feels the same in the body. Or very, very similar.
Physiologically, yeah, the same happens. And so again, just be happy that you're there. Like, take it in. That's exciting. Again, not everyone gets to experience that. Therefore, it is something to be cherished. Now, if you look at it that way, that will already change the way that you think and feel about it, because it becomes less of a it's this big scary thing versus, no, I totally deserve to be here. I worked for this. And now I get to enjoy it. That's the other thing, right? You put in all the hard yards when you train, and it's the hours of a lot of repetitive stuff. And now you actually get to put it out there. You get to really have a crack at it, which is so much cooler, I think, than all the hours of training. I mean, it's a necessary, I won't say necessary evil, but it's a requirement, sure. And now you get to really have a go at it. So embrace it, be happy about it, go in there with a smile.
Absolutely,
Just do it.
and always keep in mind when I talk anxiety, it's automatically in my mind comes a thing that says I got this also by repetition again. I got it ingrained in me, and it comes from timeline therapy and NLP, of course. But it's the idea of, yes, I don't know if I'm going to win in whatever performance I need to do right now, facing a meeting, facing a boss, facing a personality, facing a game, anything, right? A performance like a concert, as I used to do. I don't know, but surely, but neither does my opponent, neither does my competition. Nobody knows because the future hasn't happened yet, right? And the truth is that mathematically, this is what comes in my mind. Mathematically, at any given point, a person that starts in that game, not as a favorite, can beat the favorite. And it happens more often than not. So then the answer is, I don't know. I know them well that if I do my absolute best and focus on wanting and the successful completion of that action that I'm doing, or that game that I'm playing, and so on and so forth, I surely will have a far better, for the lack of a better word, let's call it behavior, everything that I do in that moment, physically, mentally, and emotionally, or again as a package, then if I focus on, oh my God, I'm facing this, what a terrible, I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm going to be full of myself. That is absolutely non-constructive. And yet so many people do this. And it's a matter of mind training as I see it.
Absolutely. And, maybe slightly deviating from the question, but, and I know I mentioned earlier, there's such a thing as a flow state. And the moment your level of ability matches your required level of, I guess, exertion, so skill matches ability in that moment, that is when it typically, it feels fantastic. And whether that means that you're going to come in first place, second place, sixth place, seventh place, whatever, when you are able to deliver on your skill set, execute the skill set to your absolute maximum capacity, whatever that is, irrespective, mathematically, clearly, you can't do any better than that.
Right.
Wherever it takes you. And so that could be another way, and I have certainly used this with some of my athletes, to strive towards. Okay, whatever you are capable of doing, I want you to aim for that. I want you to, and if you can, maybe surpass it by like 0.5%, right? Not gigantic leaps, but just a little bit better. And that can help take away the focus towards external to, again, okay, just me, this is what I'm going to do.
Very important is that, so let's say your best is here and aim 0.5% better. But that tails in beautifully with one of the prime directives of the unconscious mind, isn't it? The unconscious mind, at the unconscious level, we want more and more and more. So I know I'm capable of this, and this is my absolute best, whatever that is, right? And if I'm aiming here, just like, as you said, 0.5% more, that is a natural thing that we do unconsciously anyway. So it works beautifully in that respect.
Absolutely.